tier 2. He put up his tier 2 buildings. Notice that he made room in his base by cutting down the trees in one place with his grunts. Sorry, his peons. Definitely do that. Because imagine if he had... Okay, the Archmage is stuck. Obviously, towers are not going to be coming for a little while until the Archmage gets out. What Who is doing, in fact, is sending a footman and researching backpack for it. I think he may have already done that. In order to get some items from the shop, a staff of TP for the Archmage in particular. But what this means is that Who can creep to level 3 in peace, and that's very nice for the Orc. So this is what he gets for harassing the Archmage. If he hadn't gotten the Archmage kill, I mean, basically it's a kill. It's not really, but it has the same sort of impact as a kill in this situation because although he doesn't get the experience, he does get to creep freely unhampered by the Archmage. If he hadn't gotten that, he would have gotten some footmen, gotten some extra experience, delayed the push in that way as well. Now, here, Who has his tier 2 buildings up. Imagine if he put, like I was saying, imagine if he'd put them outside his base, let's say here. Then the towers come. They're going to cancel the buildings, or at the very least, they're going to put pressure on any unit that comes out of the buildings, for example, raiders, right away. You don't want that to happen. You want to make room inside your base for your tier 2 buildings. And in order to do that, you'll need to be very proactive about cutting down the trees with your peons. There's just not enough room, especially if you put your burrows inside. That's another reason not to put them inside. So, Who gets an invuln pot, which is a very, very good idea. Excuse me, I have to scroll down my notes for a second. Yeah. Okay, there we go. I think it paused the game. That's a little annoying. But, anyway, invuln pot's very important against Mountain King. Obviously. Now, Windwalk, so he's scouting the human army, and what he's going to see is, oh, there's a militia. So, and he's also going to see, oh, look, Archmage coming in. Oops, sorry about that. Archmage has a clarity, cancels the clarity, gets bolted. Now, the Mountain King has to dust because he was windwalked already. So, now what we're going to see in a second... Okay, first of all, he's going to buy the salves from the shop before it goes down. That's a very good idea. That's important. Now we're going to see him do something very clever. He notices that the dust of appearance is about to wear off. So he's going to run in and... Oh, look, Mountain King sees Blademaster. Bolt. Whoops! Bolt missed because the dust wore off. That's a good trick if you can pull it off. If you count the seconds of the dust, you can pull that off pretty regularly, actually. But... And even if you miss, you're going to get bolted, and then the dust is going to wear off like 1 second later. So you're still invisible. Whoop-de-doo. He bolted you and got the damage, but nothing else. Immediate Archmage focus because the Archmage was way out of position, way out in front. Hex focus, Archmage goes down. Not much that you can do about that. I mean, Resolver was not going to TP out there. That would have been a ridiculous waste. Now the Mountain King ensnare, focus, almost goes down, manages to sneak it out. So, Blademaster is going to go after it. And this is, first of all, this would not have at all have been possible with a level 2 Blademaster. So the ability to creep to level 3 is important. Now, uses the invuln pot, kills the Mountain King. Yay. Okay. So, why did he do it in that order? First of all, the Archmage is easier to kill. The Mountain King is usually very difficult to kill. You saw how long it took. If the Archmage were still alive, that would mean like a lot of water elementals would come out in that time. Best to kill the Archmage first. If the Archmage is way out of position like that as well, always a good target. Always target units out of position. When you're in tower push, when you're being tower pushed, you have to be opportunistic. So I'm going to tell you what order he's focusing things in, but that's not necessarily the order you should focus it in. So, AM first in this case because it was out of position, and then the Mountain King. Why do the hero focus? Why is hero focus a good idea? Isn't hero focus noobish? Well, in the case of the human army, what does the human have in his army? He's got footmen, and he's got casters, and he's got towers, and maybe militia, but in this case he didn't have militia. So, out of those units, which has the highest DPS? It's the heroes. Which has the lowest DPS? The casters. So, actually the heroes are like the most effective target to focus because in comparison to the amount of damage that you have to do to kill them, they actually have less DP. They have more DPS. Normally they'd have less. If you're against, let's say, Night Elf army, the heroes don't have as much DPS relative to how hard it is to kill them. That's why you don't focus them. But it's a human army. Human casters are pathetic in terms of DPS. Mountain King comes out again, but it's way too late because the towers are already down. So, I said I was going to tell you the order of focusing, but the battle was already over by the time I got through discussing heroes. So I'm going to do that now before we go on to the second game. of the commentary. Yeah, let me scroll down in my notes. Yeah, the next thing he focused was the Sorks, because Sorks have slow, and priests are a secondary target. You get them if they're out of position. Sorks are important to kill. With the Archmage down, they're less relevant, but still. So then after that, once you've gotten the Sorks down, you've basically won the battle. You just have to execute well for the rest. And ensnare the peasants to stop them from repairing the towers if you want to take the towers down. Also focus the peasants with your blade master and the rest of the units with your army. And the reason for this is that the blade master is very good at killing peasants, and your army is going to be very effective at killing the casters, because your army has raiders. Raiders do extra damage to the casters. They don't do extra damage to peasants. In fact, they do reduce damage to peasants. So use the units against what they're most effective against. Peasants are not like urgent. You don't need to kill them immediately because they're not doing any damage. So you have to you can afford to spend just one unit on that. Also, the Blade Master is better than, say, a grunt at running around towers, which is what peasants are going to tend to do when you focus them. But, most importantly, don't run through the army to focus what you think what I've told you is like the next unit in the sequence. Don't do that. Just focus what's available, and try and pick out of those units that are available. Pick the ones that are easiest. Archmage is definitely the top priority if he becomes available. If he's in the back, firing, fireballs, don't run all the way to the back and kill the Archmage unless he's at, like, 1 health. Okay, this is just common sense, but a lot of people say, oh, look, tower push coming in, I have to right-click the Archmage. That doesn't work. It's not... The game is... Humans complain about Archmage focus, but it's not so imbalanced that you can just do it in every situation. You have to think. And use it at the right time. Towers go down really fast once the army's gone, and the game ends pretty much there. The human has invested too much in the tower push. So that was game 1 of the series. Who wins it? Well, let's move on to the second game. Oh, one more thing. If you're a human, don't bolt the Windwalk Blade Master. Ever, basically. You're not going to kill him. You're not even going to put significant damage on him. Don't bolt a Blade Master who Windwalks. You saw what happened there. The bolt even missed. But just in general, don't do it. It's a waste of your bolt. Okay, I'm just pressing random keys. Excuse me. I'm really confused. Yeah, let me take a drink of water and let's get the second replay loaded. Okay, here we go. Replay number 2. Whoops, this is still replay number 1. I'm a noob. Okay, well, I'm wasting your time here, so, whatever. I'm fast. I can do this, really. The second game is on Echo Isles, and we'll have the orc on the left-hand side, and the human on the right.